Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Berardo Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Berardo. Each episode I focus on giving you fun, entertaining content on health, happiness, positivity, and anything else that's important to us humans. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Instagram at the Berardo, and don't forget to subscribe to the show by visiting theberardo.com/thepodcast, or just click that little subscribe button wherever you're listening to the podcast. Thanks again, and enjoy the episode.
You're just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
It's been a while. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Berardo Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Tony Berardo, and I'm coming to you via all channels, but don't forget to subscribe over at YouTube as well, where I'm posting some videos, and of course, every podcast we have a video there, so make sure you check that out as well. I do, before we get into today's episode, it'll be a quick one, but I just wanted to kind of recap a little bit of Fit for February and what I kind of experienced the month of February. It's been an interesting 28 days. Today's the first, so I'll probably partake in some alcoholic beverage because the whole month of February I didn't have any booze, so I definitely probably will partake in something tonight. But I kind of wanted to go over a little bit about what I experienced and some benefits, and if there's any negatives to it as well. If you don't know Fit for February, I leave the description. But it's a contest I do every year. We have a Facebook group. We use the hashtag to kind of share wins and some before and after pictures and some results and some successes and tips and tricks and things like that to be healthy. And it's just kind of a month that we selected to really showcase, the most activity we could do in a month. Of course, we picked the shortest month of the year, February, 28 days, because more than that without any alcohol or going hard in the gym is a bit of a challenge. But it was fun. It was a good time. It always is. Had a lot of participants, and I just want to kind of share some results. But before we get into that, I do want to thank our friends over at Superfat. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. So if you guys don't know, Superfat is my go-to snack. I literally take these guys everywhere with me. In fact, if we go anywhere, whether it's on the boat, to the beach, for a bike ride, even my wife knows to pack at least one Superfat. They have tons of great nut butters, which they don't use any peanuts. It's all good fats. So, peanut butter it's just not good for you. Sure, it tastes good, of course, but there's no nutritional value behind those fats. You look on the back and 2 tablespoons is in between 20 to 30 grams of fat. Well, Superfat has the right fats, plant fats, and that's what your body needs. Very similar to like an avocado. You always probably hear that where that's a good fat to eat. Same thing with Superfat. They use almonds, macadamia, and coconut oil, MCT, probiotics. They even have one that's coffee and MCT, which is one of my favorites. They have tons of great flavors to choose from, but they don't just have nut butter. They even have baking mixes, so you can make a brownie mix that they have where you can literally just add 3 ingredients with the package. So you don't have to worry about measuring out flour or sugar or whatever else you put in your pancakes or your brownie mix. They have all that measured out for you individually. So literally you just add eggs if you want, or egg alternatives, and a little bit of coconut oil and the mix that it comes with, and boom, you're good. So they have a brownie mix as well as a pancake mix. So literally it'll help your sweet tooth for sure. And speaking of sweet tooth, they even have keto cookie bites. So if you're on a keto diet, these are totally keto friendly. They use no fillers, no artificial sugar. Keto cookie bites are great. So again, they just have tons of great products. They're coming out with new flavors all the time. But I would definitely encourage you to check out superfat.com. Use the code Berardo10. You're going to get 10% off your entire order. So I recommend just trying out a variety pack just to see what flavors you like the most. Use the code Berardo10. You're going to get a 10% discount on the entire purchase. Whoa. I also do want to thank our friends over at Patch Vibes. So you see me rock these on IG all the time. They have really cool patches that you can put anywhere. They're patch stickers. So they're not actually patches you have to sew, but they look like you sewed them in. That's how kind of radical these things look. But they have tons of great patches from, Looney Tunes characters. Like one of my favorites is Marvin the Martian. You see that on my Mac. If you watch my YouTube videos, I put that on there. But they even have, of course, tons of great dolphin swag, which I have those on my jerseys, some hats. You could put these on purses, laptops, anywhere you want. But you could just switch up your vibe using these things. It's pretty cool. And they even just came out with an apparel line where they have some great some great Dolphins swag that I love personally. If you're not a Dolphins fan, that's cool. You should be. But if you're not, no worries. You could check out all the other swag that they got. They just came out with the East Down and Bound one. It's so great. But visit patchvibes.com. If you want a discount, use the code TheBerardo, and they'll hook you up at checkout. Whoa. So first off, I'm coming to you with a brand new mic, testing this thing out. I'm loving it. So thank you for enduring that with me. Hopefully it sounds a little bit better. I think it does. I'll find out when I edit this thing. But so Fit for February. So February is always a month that I've been selecting for the past, 3 years, I think, that we do this Fit for Feb. So I'll leave the link if you want to join. But it's not just something that we do for February. The competition itself is in February, but throughout the year, sometimes I'll post like exclusive workouts that I've done or some nutritional tips or things like that for my blog, theberardo.com. But it's just kind of a cool area, no judgment. We just post some cool stuff, and every February we have a little competition. I'm going to look at all the pictures and stuff and select a winner for this year, and I always give out prizes every year for the winner that has the most progress and that's the most active on the channel, on the group. So it's been fun. And then of course February is known for, in that group, of no booze for the month of February. Of course, if you don't drink anyway, or if you're on below the age of 21 and you can't drink legally, then you're ahead of the game. But the reason why we select no booze is pretty simple. I mean, drinking's great for the social element of it, but it's definitely a poison that you put in your body. I mean, you could totally tell, right? You could tell the next day when you wake up and you've been going hard. That's you could tell that's not a good thing to be doing when your body reacts that way. And that's with anything, right? That's with eating as well. I mean, if you go out to a fast food joint and you grab some fast food, yeah, it might taste good when it hits your face, but after that, you don't feel good. And that's because it's poison. A lot of artificial ingredients, a lot of salt, a lot of sodium, a lot of preservatives. So your body just doesn't know how to react to that. Our bodies are used to taking stuff from the earth, plants and meats and animals, and no artificial bullshit, no artificial sugars and stuff. So you got to listen to your body. And when it comes to eating right and drinking, like these sodas and these high sugar sodas, I mean, is it better to have like Tang? Remember Tang back in the day? The Tang, the orange powder soda or drink, excuse me. And you mix powder with water. Yeah, you got Tang, and then you got fresh squeezed orange juice. What do you think is better for you? I used to crank out some Tang, but come on now, that stuff's raunchy. So again, same thing with booze, right? Intaking booze is going to catch up to you. And, as we get older, it becomes more and more of a challenge to maintain our lifestyle and maintain our health. So as I've gotten older, and I'm only 35, but as I've gotten older, I realized that I really need to take care of myself because I want to get in these routines and these habits, when I'm in my mid 30s. So that way it kind of pours over into my 40s and my 50s and my 60s. Because, once you get to your 50s, that's it. I mean, how you look and how you feel, you're going to be feeling like that for the next, 2 decades, 3 decades, until you can't, move anymore. But, you look at all these 70, 80-year-olds that are still walking around and still active and very spry. Well, that's because they had a healthy, lifestyle as they were younger. So you have to adopt these habits at a young age. And that's what I've been trying to do. And I've been trying to spread that on my blog and on this podcast to maintain a healthy lifestyle, no matter what age you're at. But as you get older, definitely be aware of what you're putting in your body. And that's a big reason why I started Fit for February, is to kind of spread that love and kind of a micro level in this Facebook group. So I felt really great. On my Instagram, I posted a before and after picture. So, check that out at the Berardo. But I'd probably say the biggest thing for me was the not drinking aspect. It was very tough at first. It always is, because it's such a big part of social interaction. And even though we haven't been social because of the pandemic, the wife and I partake in wine all the time, and that was kind of hard. Me, I'm big into pasta, and I'm big into pizza, and I make all the gluten free, and I make my own sauce, and I make all that stuff, and it's healthier pasta, if there's such a thing, but it's definitely much harder to have pasta and not have wine. It's so difficult for me. That was the biggest thing for me. So I kind of veered away from that in my eating habits. I don't think I had one plate of pasta. Actually, that's a lie. I might have had 1 or 2 plates of pasta in February, versus I'll have pasta at least once a week. And I usually make it, at home, but I only had it maybe once or twice in the month of February, because I knew if I cooked pasta, or pizza rather, that I would have wine. I would be tempted to it. Same thing with eating out. We didn't really eat out that much, because when I eat out, I always want a glass of wine or a cocktail, right? Because there's something aesthetically about that, about being outside, especially if you're like outdoors and you're at an outside bar and you're having some food and you're with your wife, or you're with a friend or something. It's really hard not to drink booze when you're out. So we tried not to eat out that much to avoid that exact same situation. But that was the hard part. But the entire month I didn't drink. 28 days. I was very proud of myself. Today's March 1st, and I'm not even, what is it? It's almost dinner time. I mean, I'm not even really fiending for booze. I might have a glass of wine, only because I'm curious how fucked up I'm gonna get from a glass of wine by not having it. But I feel good and look good, though. You could definitely tell the amount of sugar that is in alcohol, and how it reacts to your body. Like if you have love handles, or the skin around your body. I'm more vascular than I am now, so there's like more veins. See that? Oh, I got a bad cut here. But I'm more vascular because there's less sugar in my body, and then of course I haven't had a lot of carbs. So if you go to theburrowed.com, I posted a couple recipes of things that I ate during the month of February. But I feel really good though. I've definitely slept a lot better, I think, since I haven't had booze, especially because sometimes I'll have it like late at night. And then once I have it late at night, 8 or 9 o'clock, I end up going to bed at 11, midnight, just because your body just can't get that, REM sleep that it deserves because of the alcohol. So that was kind of nice, getting some more sleep. And of course, you wake up the next morning, you're refreshed. But the working out aspect was really interesting to me, because I didn't work out as hard in February as I do every other month. I actually just chose to do something very active every day. So like each morning, I would wake up on an empty stomach. I would just have black coffee. But on an empty stomach, I would go out. We have an indoor gym that I built in the garage, and I would just go on the stationary bike for 10, 15 minutes. That's it. And I would do that every day. And then occasionally, probably about 4 or 5 times a week, I would do weights, but I would do that in the afternoon. So I'd still do my cardio every day in the morning, and then I would do my weights in the afternoon, like at 3 or 4 o'clock. Instead of a lunch break, I would do that. So that's something I really enjoyed doing, because it kind of gave me a little bit more energy throughout the day. Doing the cardio in the morning kind of kept me going, and then towards the end of the day, it almost like let me go harder with the weights, and then it tired me out and calmed me down a little bit, after I got done working out. You take a shower, you get done, you're nice and relaxed, your body's, yeah, it's pumped up, sure, but you got the adrenaline going, yeah, of course, but that dies down a little bit, and it's almost like it releases the anger for the day. And then once that purges out of your system, you naturally just feel better. That's at least how I took it for the month of February. So I was definitely more active, got in more steps. We tried to walk a lot. But overall, just for the whole month, I think I haven't felt this good in a while, since the pandemic. And, I know it's a challenge, because especially if you don't go to the gym, to do something at home. And I think that's the reason why I wanted to do Fit for February. And maybe I'll do it a little bit more each year, but I think we got to get in the habit of doing more exercise, not weights or anything like that, but just doing something at home, especially with this, again, pandemic, whether it's doing yoga in the morning, walking around the block a couple times, getting the mail every single day, kind of create a routine for yourself, getting the blood going. Because when you're at home and you're working at home in particular, and you're just stuck in this routine of like waking up at 7 o'clock and then working at home, being on your ass from 7 to noon, and then having lunch, and then you're eating, and then you're sitting back down, and then till 5 p.m. you're off, and then at 5 o'clock you maybe go take a shower, you go watch Netflix, and you're just on your ass all day, every day. Not only is that not good for, your body, right? Structurally. I mean, sitting down that much is not good for your back or your neck or, obviously your blood pressure. You don't want to be sitting down and just eating. And, over the course of time, that's going to catch up to you. Maybe not next year or the year after, but I think we have to start thinking long term, especially if you're in your 30s. What is the routine that you're going to get into? Because when you're 50 and 60, you're not going to be able to do the type of things that you're able to do now, like activity wise. So it's not like when you get to 55 or 60, you're going to be able to be active and you're going to be able to be healthy as you want. So the goal should be to get as healthy as you can now. And then when you're 55, coast. You just eat right and you got the body that you want and you're maintaining. It's not like you're looking to impress people. That's not what it's about. It's about just being healthy. But you can't be as healthy as you want in your 50s and 60s. It's just not possible. For men, you don't have the testosterone that you need to build muscle. So you need to have the muscle before you reach that area where your testosterone drops. Same thing with women. You go through menopause and, your hormones are up and down, and it's going to be a challenge to wake up every day and be motivated to work out. So you want to make sure that you get in the routine now, if you're in your 30s. 20 years is not that long. Develop yourself a nice little routine so that way you can stick through it. So anyway, that's just kind of my 2 cents on Fit for February. I learned a lot, with my body and how my body reacts. I had a couple episodes in January and a little bit in February for my Crohn's. That kind of threw a curveball on some things where I wasn't able to be as active, but I think a lot of that had to do with because I was changing up my diet too, that my body was just kind of reacting a certain way because I was cutting out carbs towards the end of the day. So my body, every time I change up my diet, my body just says, fuck off. And I end up having a Crohn's outbreak. It's not as bad. Normally it's really bad where I have to go to the hospital. It wasn't that bad these times. I was able to power through at home, but it still sucked. So that was the only challenge for me. But I still kind of, took it easy, did some stretching. Every single time I couldn't work out, if you're too sore, I would just stretch or do some yoga or something like that. So it was great. And I don't think I'm gonna actually drink tonight. I told my wife I might, but I don't think I'm gonna. I'm enjoying just kind of being clear-headed and being focused. It's super interesting when you don't have booze for the whole month. Give yourself 30 days and try not to drink alcohol and try not to have artificial bullshit in your diet. Carbs and sugars, and cut all that bullshit out. You will be amazed of how you feel and how you look, of course, but more how you feel. That's the important thing, right? Is there's a lot of studies that show people that are depressed. People that are more depressed, you look at how their eating habits are, and no wonder they're depressed. They're cramming all these shitty foods in their diet, and then of course when they get home, they're sucking down beer and wine. That's a depressant, right? So it doesn't surprise me that if you drink a lot, you're depressed, and then of course if you're depressed, you're going to drink more, and it's a vicious circle. So it's something that we need to be cautious of, I think, and be more cognizant of. We always kind of think of the social aspect of it, and it's great for sure, but do you need 10 drinks when you go out? Can't you just have a beer and just sip it for 30, 40 minutes and just hang out and have a good time? A buddy once told me that doesn't drink, but he once told me, he's like, if you can't hang out with friends without booze, maybe they're not really your friends. And he hasn't drank for 15 years. He's been sober. So I thought that was good advice, because if you have to have alcohol with your friends, maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with those guys or girls. I don't know. That's just my opinion personally, but I feel good. I hope if you're listening out there and you participate in Fit for February, or if you take something from the podcast that I've done in the past and maybe you did a little something in February, hopefully you had a good time like I did. But I'm going to keep this thing going. I'd love to hear some comments and some of your stories out there if you have any. But until next time, I appreciate you guys listening, and I look forward to putting out another podcast that is unrelated to Fit for February. I got a lot of guests that are coming up, so I look forward to sharing that information with you guys and having a couple guests on. But until next time, thanks for listening to the Broad Podcast. We will talk to you later. Peace.